April 19th, 1989. Central Park at night, alive with teenagers running, shouting, and laughing through the shadows. But joy soon turned to chaos. A young woman jogging alone was savagely attacked, beaten, and left unconscious. The crime shocked the city and ignited a firestorm of fear. By morning, New York demanded justice, and 5 boys who had nothing to do with it would be pulled into a nightmare that would change their lives forever. Detectives wasted no time. Their suspects, 5 Black and Latino boys, just 14 to 16 years old. Antron McCray, Kevin Richardson, Yusef Salaam, Raymond Santana, Corey Wise. Children dragged from their homes, thrown into police cars as mothers screamed and begged on stoops. That night, under harsh station lights, they stood in lineups, confused, afraid, and already branded guilty in the eyes of the police. Behind closed doors, the boys were broken down. Hours of questioning without parents, without lawyers, without rest. Detectives shouted, lied, promised freedom if they just said the words. Terrified and exhausted, the boys repeated what they were told. One by one, their forced confessions were captured on videotape. Lies that would soon carry more weight than truth. Lies that would ruin their lives. The city erupted. Newspapers screamed about wilding in the park. Headlines called them animals. Politicians demanded the death penalty. The story spread like wildfire, fueled by fear and rage. And before a trial even began, the boys were condemned. Not as children, not as sons, but as monsters. In court, there was no DNA, no physical evidence. Nothing connected the boys to the crime. But the jury had to tape confessions, shaky voices of kids, saying what detectives fed them. Prosecutors played the tapes like gospel, and jurors leaned forward, nodding. The boys sat silently at the defense table, their mothers crying in the gallery. The truth didn't matter. The lies were enough. In 1990, the verdict came guilty. Antron, Kevin, Yusef, and Raymond were sent to juvenile detention. But Corey Wise, just 16, faced something worse. Rikers Island, an adult prison infamous for violence. Shackled and led away, the boys' childhoods ended in chains, their futures replaced with prison walls. The boys endured taunts, violence, and endless fear. For the younger 4, juvenile detention was harsh but survivable. For Corey Wise, it was a living hell. At just 16, he was thrown into Rikers Island, surrounded by hardened men twice his age. He was beaten, betrayed, and often punished for crimes he didn't commit inside the prison itself. To protect himself, he chose solitary confinement, locking himself in a tiny cell for weeks at a time. Alone in the dark, he replayed the night in Central Park over and over, asking, "Why me?" Days blurred into months, prison walls. Life went on without them. Families gathered for birthdays, graduations, and weddings, but the 5 were never there. Seasons changed. Summers turned to winters. The city skyline lit up each New Year's Eve. Yet behind bars, their lives stood still. Friends moved on, neighborhoods changed, but the boys remained trapped in time. Their letters often went unanswered, their voices unheard. Some relatives drifted away, unable to bear the shame or the struggle. The world forgot them, except for the label stamped on their names. Criminals. Each day behind those bars was not just a punishment for a crime they did not commit. It was stolen youth, stolen chances, stolen futures. They were ghosts in their own lives, watching from a distance as the world spun forward without them. 13 years later, the truth surfaced. A man named Matias Reyes, already in prison for other crimes, confessed to the attack. He described details only the real attacker could know. DNA testing proved it. His profile matched evidence, and none of the boys did. At last, proof of what they had always said. They were innocent. In 2002, after more than a decade of suffering, the truth finally broke through. The courts vacated their convictions, and the boys, now men, walked free. Families wept as they embraced sons they feared they might never see again. Reporters swarmed, cameras flashing, capturing faces no longer branded as criminals but as survivors. For the first time, the world was forced to see them not as villains, but as children who had been sacrificed to a system built on fear and prejudice. Freedom was theirs again, but the years stolen could never be returned. Freedom didn't erase the scars. Returning home, the men faced a world that had moved on without them. Jobs were nearly impossible to find, relationships strained, and the years lost could never be reclaimed. In 2014, New York City finally admitted its mistake, awarding a $41 million settlement, $1 million for every stolen year. But money couldn't buy back childhoods, family moments, or the peace of a life unbroken. The Exonerated Five had their freedom, but they would forever carry the weight of what was taken. They are no longer the Central Park Five. They are the Exonerated Five, a name that carries both pain and power. Their story stands as a warning about a justice system too quick to condemn, too willing to sacrifice the innocent. Today, they use their voices to fight for change, reminding the world that justice is fragile and truth must be protected.